Gather around, ladies and gentlemen. It's story time. And tonight I'm going to be your host. My name is Chance. And in this episode, I want to talk to you about what I would do if I was 18 years old again and the advice that I would want from my father or from my mentors. Brief little background about myself so you can understand who I am. My name is Chance. I grew up in a foster home. I went into the foster care system when I was 8 years old. And I was in a boys' home, a place called Terra Hall, Home for Boys. It's located in Georgetown, South Carolina. I lived there for 2 years. I was behind in my grades. Um, my family pretty much broke up at a very young age. And I bounced around from foster home to foster home when I was a child until I got to high school, and I was able to stay in one foster home, permanently because I had a good relationship with the people there. And I was able to get into the military. And when I got into the military, things just happened for me, and I became very successful over the course of 20 years. And I'll do later videos about my career in the military and how I led into that and how that worked. But at 18 years old, going into the military, I don't know if you could say I was troubled youth, but I was definitely running with the wrong crowd. At one point, I had a strong arm robbery charge where I was facing 15 years. I didn't rob anybody. I was just with the wrong crowd at the wrong time at the wrong place, and I was accused of it. And I can do a video of that later. But this is what I wish that someone would have told me when I was 18 years old. It probably would have shaved 15 years off my life, but I never got this advice. I got this advice that I'm about to give you through actually living it and going through it. And this is the same advice that I give to my children now. And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start it off. The first thing that I want to tell you, if you're young, if you're old, whatever you're going through, first of all, you have to understand and realize that we are all dealt a specific set of cards, okay? That's just the way it is. Some of us are born with things because our family are blessed with things, and some of us aren't. And I think the quicker you realize your circumstances and your situation, and you get over that, you can figure out what your goals are and you can start working towards that. I think I figured that out at a very early age. I realized that the Lord or the Maker or whoever you believe in or whatever you believe in gave Chance a specific set of cards in life. And it was on me to trade cards in and play my game of life and make things happen for myself and not wait on people to give it to me. So that's the first thing that I think you need to realize. If you're a young guy, middle-aged guy, or an older guy, you just got to play the cards you were dealt, okay? That's number one. Number two that I would say that you need to focus on, that I wish somebody would have told me, is who are you surrounded by right now in your life? Look at your phone or look at your contacts. Who are probably the top 5 people who you communicate with in your life right now? And do you want yourself to be like that in 5 to 10 years from now or 15 years from now? Do you want to be in that outfit that you're running with now? Now, I'm not saying that those people are bad. And I'm not saying that you're unloyal for, not saying getting away from them. But what I'm saying is you just have to ask yourself, who am I running with right now? Because if you're running with them right now, you're probably going to be running with them 10, 15 years from now. So you have to start surrounding yourself with people who you want to be like. I'll give you an example. I used to tell my soldiers all the time when I was a company commander. I used to tell them, I'd say, it's real simple, folks. If you want to become a doctor one day, go talk to doctors and find out what they did to become a doctor, right? If you want to become a lawyer one day, go hang out with the lawyers. They will show you how they went to law school, and they will show you the blueprint for that. And then also, if you want to become a drug addict or a crackhead or a felon, go hang out with them. They'll show you how to do that as well. So you have to figure out who you want to run with. And if I'm not saying you're going to immediately be able to run with doctors and lawyers or whatever it is, but you got to start working your way over, start reading the things they read, getting around them, asking questions, looking for mentors. So that would be the second thing that I would tell you. Who are you surrounding yourself with? The third thing that I would say is, because you were blessed with a different set of cards, stop competing with other people in your neighborhood or who, even on YouTube, whoever you're competing with, stop it. Compete with yourself. Ask yourself, where was I at yesterday and where am I at today and where am I trying to get to? Focus on your progress and quit looking at everybody else. And don't worry about everybody else. Control what you can control within your scope of interest or scope of influence is what I'm trying to say. Focus on that. Stop competing with others. That's number 3. Number 4, I would say sometimes the world and the community gets us so caught up on education, like a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or whatever. I would say that work ethic at an early age, learning how to work hard at a very, very young age, outweighs credentials in the future, meaning certifications and degrees and stuff like that. I'm not saying that degrees and stuff is a bad thing. That's great. But if you have all that stuff and you don't have the work ethic behind it, you're not worth anything, because no matter how many degrees you got or how many certifications you got, when you get hired onto that job, it's not going to take them long to realize that you don't have the passion or you don't have the work ethic to do what they need you to do. So at a very young age, if you can learn how to work hard and grind, later on down the road, things will work out for you, I promise. Once you get into an organization that wants you and they see the work ethic, you will move up. Focus on establishing a very, very tough and hard work ethic at an early age, and then later work on the education requirements. Number 6, the number 5th thing that I would say is chasing your passion versus chasing money. What really matters? Now, a lot of you may think money does. And depending on where you're at in your life, I hear you. But money's not everything. The money will come. I would tell you to look at the things that you love to do. What is it that you love to do? I don't know what that is. Figure out what you may go your whole life and never figure out what you love. Kobe Bryant said that. He said some people go their whole life and they never figure out what they love. He was able to do that, and he chased basketball. So figure out what you love to do, become really good at it, become an expert at it, and then try to find a way to make money with it. The money will come later. You can have all the money in the world, but if you hate going to work every day, you will become miserable. If you go back and look at one of my other videos about the sales video, where I talk about how to be the best salesman over summer, I talk about how I started a business and I had 126 customers, but I didn't love what I was doing. So I decided to go back into the military. You got to love what you're doing. And I had the money with the business, but I was not happy. So chase happiness and chase passion. Number 6, what I would say at an early age, I didn't know this. I didn't learn this till I was 29 years old. You need to understand the difference between assets and liabilities and start understanding what financial freedom is. When I was 29 years old, I went to Afghanistan as a young platoon leader, and I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And when I read that book, I was so upset with all my mentors, all my foster people who were over me, the homes I grew up in, my coaches. I was so upset because nobody ever gave me the knowledge that was in that book about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I was extremely upset with them for about a week. But then I realized I can't be upset with them because they don't even know. They're not even educated. My father, who was 73 years old, he didn't even understand how money worked. And so when I started talking to him about the things I learned in this book, it became clear to me that he just didn't know. He was not educated. So at a young age, understand the difference between assets and liabilities and what does financial freedom become. Because if you can start at a young age, 18, mid-20s, if you can understand that as you get older, you're going to be way ahead of the game. Like I said, I didn't start till I was 29, and I still turned out really, really well. I did really, really well. And I'll talk about that in later videos about my success. So understand that. Number 7, this is a tough one. Don't rush into relationships with females or males. You need to secure yourself first. What I mean by that is, I was talking to my son about this earlier. When you're young, if you go out there and start, there's nothing wrong with dating and stuff like that, but you need to be focused on your lane and what you're trying to accomplish, and I promise you that female or male will come later. Secure yourself first. If you can't take care of yourself and handle your business, you may get that girl or guy, but over time, they're going to look at you and expect you to be able to pull your weight and help them or whatever. If you can't handle your business, they're not going to be with you long. I know money's not everything, but it's important. And if a guy can't support his girl, or if a girl can't bring something to the table, they're not going to be together long. So you got to make sure you can secure yourself first. I mean, that's just the way it's got to be. If not, you're going to be swimming upstream the whole time. Okay. Sometimes I'm one of them. I had a girl first. She's my wife now. I got married to her at a very young age, and we swam upstream for a long time. We accomplished everything we wanted to do, but I will tell you, looking back on it, we did it the hard way. We did it the hard way. We did it backwards. And that's why I'm trying to spit this game to you so you can understand from my mistakes. Secure yourself first. Don't rush into a relationship. Number 8, what I would say is the way things are nowadays, the power of learning a skill over traditional education, like a regular degree from college. I used to teach Army captains in the Army, and every one of them came in there with a degree, a regular degree. But I will tell you, when they leave the military and go out into the real world, there's a ton of people out there with degrees. You can get a degree nowadays online through Phoenix and all these different places. But how many people you know that can come into your home and work on a heating and air conditioning system and troubleshoot it and fix it? Huh? And you're going to pay for that HVAC, I promise you. If it's hot or cold, you're going to pay for it. How many people can do electrical work, plumbing work? There's all sorts of trades you can get into. If it's not a trade, limousine driving, lawn care, pest control, cutting hair for a living. Those are all specific trades that people need and their services. And I think that the way technology is now, the way kids and people are coming up with YouTube and phones and stuff, if you notice, anytime you walk into a barbershop, everybody in the barbershop has their head down and they're scrolling. If you go ask a 14 or 15-year-old kid to go get you a pair of vice grips out of a toolbox, I guarantee you most of the times he don't know what you're talking about. So if you learn a good trade, you're going to make a lot of money in the future, in my opinion. If I was 18 years old, that's what I would get into. That's what I got my son into. He's doing heating and air conditioning right now. He's doing service work, and he's doing really good right now. And so that's what I would recommend. Learn a trade versus traditional college. But ultimately, college isn't bad either. But just know what you're getting into with the competition. The next thing I would say, number 9, is understanding leverage in business and in life. Leverage. The key word is leverage. Okay, it goes back to what I talked about, securing yourself first. If you go get with a girl or a guy and get pregnant by that person, who has leverage over you now? You're tied up. You're chained down, right? You can't get away, right? Or if you're in an industry where you're working somewhere and you didn't ever learn certain things you were supposed to learn, the business or the organization has leverage over you because you can't leave, because you got so much time invested. And if you get up and leave, you lose everything. So the organization that you were working for has leverage over you. If you're a male or female, when you're coming up, if you handling your business and you dominate in your craft and you can take care of yourself, nobody has leverage over you. When we talk about debt, credit cards, if you go out there and get a bunch of debt, the credit card bureaus, they have leverage over you. Don't let nobody have leverage over you. Manage your business so you are the boss and you get to do what you want to do. It's not going to be like that at first, but think about leverage. Anytime you do something and you put yourself in a position, look at the opposition and say, are they going to have leverage over me? Will I be able to get up and leave whenever I want to leave? You got to ask yourself that question. Me personally, I don't like nobody or anything having leverage over me, period. And then the last thing that I'll say, this is number 10, is start learning early about multiple streams of income. If you're young, when you get older, you need to have multiple ways to make money. So you can have a primary occupation. You can invest into the stock market. And there's YouTube videos out there for that. I do that. You can get into real estate. You can do Uber Eats. There's all kind of different ways to make money, right? Figure out how you can get multiple streams of money to come into your bank account to ultimately get you debt free. You got to start reading the things that rich people and wealth people are reading to get to where they're at. Understand how they play the game. Life is nothing but a chess game. It's a Monopoly game. If you've ever played Monopoly and you went around the board, it's the same thing. When you're going around the board, you're paying bills. You're getting out of jail free cards. You're paying utility bills. You collect $200 when you pass go. That's your income tax when you get back at the end of the year. It's a simple game. So if you play Monopoly and you start understanding how that works, you'll start mastering the game of life. But in order to do that, you have to start reading and getting smart and building your backpack for success. So these are 10 quick things that I wish that I knew when I was 18 years old. I had the work ethic and all that stuff when I was a young kid. I had the heart because, I was coming from the foster care system and things like that. But a lot of these things I learned through time, over time, through experience. But nobody ever coached me. And sometimes when we tell people things, my son, I love him. He's one of them. I can tell him something 100 times. But he's the type of kid that he's got to actually go through an experience to learn. Maybe you're that guy, or maybe you're like my daughter. My daughter, I can tell her all 10 of these, and she'll do every one of them, and she don't have to live it to learn it. That's how she moves. So think about what I said. If you got any questions, comment below. This is a new channel. I think we got 17 subscribers. I'd love to have more. If you want to, please subscribe, follow me. My goal is to mentor young, I wouldn't say troubled youth, but young youth who are looking for a way. And they need older guys like myself, who's 43 years old, who's done a lot of great things over time through hard work and failure. And maybe I can help you get there. That's my overall goal. It's time for me to give back because I've already done what I set out to do. And this is very meaningful to me. And it's also it's rewarding for me to do this. I love the comments, likes. Please subscribe. Hey, y'all have a good night. We'll see you on the next one.